This is damage, right?
Imagine he just blocked all of us.
Thank
Who?
God.
Guys, I'm part of the team. Yeah. Yeah, let's do this, guys. Don't worry. I got one of those swords
I'm
too.
just working out my
Jesus.
glutes.
Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Tier 3. What?
Oh, Lovio got the exotic. There you go.
I heard the
GG.
good on.
Titans aren't the only ones that are deleting bosses. Hunter, it's your turn to shine. Now, this is going to be patched very, very soon, so I'm trying to get it out literally as early as possible. So you'll probably have X amount of hours to do this, maybe a day if you're lucky. So if you see this early enough, hopefully helps you, I don't know, solo flawless whatever dungeon you need to do or something like that. Anyway, let's head to the shooting range. We're gonna rapid fire. So hunters, this is the build I have cooked up for you. You're gonna need a lightweight sword in your heavy slot. No, ergo sum does not work, so don't bother trying that. You're gonna need either Gold Tusk or Quick Fang, and you can get Gold Tusk out of the Enclave if you've crafted it. And as for Quick Fang, if you've gotten it before, you can pull it out of collections if you need to. That's what you need for weaponry. The rest doesn't matter. Sturm you can use for, like, memes otherwise, you know? Like, you could just be like, oh, I'm gonna combo blow everything. That's fine. But you don't need Sturm, or Drang, for that matter. Then, for your exotic, you have two choices. If you have Prismatic and the class items, you want to go with Spirit of Foe Tracer and Spirit of Synthos. Foe Tracer will buff weapon damage, which this sword, when you hit it without the hilt, counts for both weapons and sword damage. Sorry, not sword. Weapons and melee damage for whatever reason. I'm not going to complain. And then obviously Synthoceps works for your melee, right? So that's two damage perks on your class item. If you don't have exotic class items, then you can just run the basic Foe Tracer helmet in your exotic armor. So just to give you an example, you want to have your sword with 0 ammo. This is the fastest way to do it. I don't know why people stand there for an hour and slashing like 90 ammo or, 70 ammo, whatever, with their sword to get it all out. Just swap a couple weapons and you're done. And you want to go ahead and get, in front of a group. You see my biotics have procced for Synthos. And then what you can do is just go bang, Ascension to proc Foe Tracer. Take your sword out. You see X4 Weapon Surge on the bottom here. And then I go bang. That did 178,000, I believe. Yep. There you go. So, now I'm going to show you on an actual boss, but keep in mind that I can only summon one of these guys, so I can't proc Synthos. But you get the idea, right? You get surrounded, and Synthos are procced. Despite that, though, even if you go on a boss that cannot give you surrounded, because it doesn't have trash mobs, you're still going to do incredibly stupid damage. So here we go. Ready? That didn't work, so we're just going to punch. That worked. Here we go. Ready? And if you look at the clock behind the boss, as you can see, I'm already at 400,000 damage. So within, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds, I will hit 1,000,000. And this is without any darkness debuff and without a tractor or a tether. Now I'm going to show you the ultimate form. And let me ask you a question. Have you ever wanted to turn your Guardian into Sonic the Hedgehog? Let me show you what that looks like, okay? So, I'm also going to mute once I'm done explaining here. I'm going to tether, then throw my dust field, then punch him in the dick, and then, well, you'll see what happens, and you'll know why I'm muting. All right, here we go. You probably figured out why, but I was tapping my spacebar 3,000 million times. That's not even a real number. Anyway, so what you just saw was the full auto melee function, which you can find in gameplay. You just go down a little bit, and there it is. You turn that on, and then what you would do is you would go jump, then slice, and then keep slicing, but also you're going to go like this. Let me see if you hear this. Ready? Can you hear that? Yeah, you just keep doing that, but you would be in motion, which you just saw. And as you can see, I got 1.5 mil. That's what the Ogre has in the shooting range. That is well over, like, 5 times whatever any other boss has in the game. For example, I think the Corrupted Puppeteer is like 320,000-ish. By the way, 1.5 mil in Edge of Fate, translated back to Final Shape, is about 50 times the amount. So 1.5 mil times 50 would have been 75 million damage. Speaking of the Krota Puppeteer and other bosses getting clowned on, while the footage here plays in the background and you see me obliterate these bosses, let's talk about the rest of the build setup. For my aspects, it doesn't really matter which ones you pick, but if you are using the Arc Super rather than Tether, then you can use Ascension as your Arc ability to proc Foe Tracer if you like. Obviously, you also get Amplified, more DR, etc. And then the other one is Stylish Executioner. When you are using your grapple, your combo blow, all of that, you can go Invis for free, and when you're Invis and you do a grapple, you do more damage, Giga damage, in fact, so that's why that's there. But technically, you could do any aspect. In my abilities, dodging, you want Gambler's Dodge to get your melee back, even though Bungie kind of broke this with Combo Blow, and now half the time you don't get that back. That's a whole new bug, so if it's not working for you, that's why. Thought I'd throw that in there. In my melee, I have Combo Blow. It's an Arc melee. It's the Giga grapple build setup, so that's just a staple. And then in my grenade, you could either go grapple to keep that build going, or you can go Dustfield and throw that onto a boss to give you a darkness debuff on that boss, because in our fragments, we have Facet of Courage to give us more damage on our light abilities. I think that's self-explanatory. But also, in case you didn't know, Facet of Courage also gives you 50% extra damage on melees. And this counts as a melee. That's just, I mean, that's a cherry on top, isn't it? And for the other 3 fragments, they're here specifically for stat distribution. So we have Facet of Honor, which would be in the first slot on the picture on the screen here, which just gives you 10 melee in your stats, right, to get as high as you can in your melee slot. Then we have Facet of Protection. This also gives you 10 melee, but Protection also gives you more DR when you're surrounded by enemies, which you're going to want for Synthoceps. And then in the third slot, Facet of Devotion, again, don't care about the effect, it gives you plus 10 melee. And of course, Courage also gives you 10 grenade for your grapple. Speaking of stats, for your armor, you're going to want to have the 2 stats that I've been talking about this whole time. That being melee and weapons, as this sword tech counts as both. So that's why my fragments have melee stats on them. That's why your armor should have the same stats on them too. Ideally, you want to get to 160 melee, and then you can wear 2 fonts on your gloves, which will give you a total of 200 when you pick up an Orb of Power and your font becomes active. Then the rest of your stats should go straight into weapons. The rest you can distribute however you want. The loop is, as you just saw in the shooting range, you go up to an enemy, you throw a Dustfield or Tether or both, then you punch him in the dick with your Combo Blow, or if you want to do Ascension, if you're on an Arc Super, and you just go to your sword. Make sure your sword has 0 ammo, otherwise this does not work. Jump, slice, bang, boss is dead. If they're not dead in one shot because you don't have Synthos or Foe Tracer procced, simply just swipe again or turn into Sonic the Hedgehog. Next up, armor mods. We're going to go rapid fire here as well. Most of these don't matter, but some of them do have some functions in this setup. So helmet. We have a Siphon mod just for getting orbs, and your orbs will then turn into your font mods or your surge mods. Then I have 1 copy of Radiant Light and 1 copy of Powerful Friends. This is just to kind of chain orbs and armor charges between you and your teammates, if you're with teammates anyway. In gloves, like I mentioned, I have 2 melee fonts to get me to 200 melee for the max amount of damage, and then 1 copy of Focusing Strike, just to get class ability when I am punching stuff. In my chest, it's just resist mods to whatever activity you're doing. In my boots, I have 2 copies of Arc Weapon Surge, because the sword that I'm using is Arc, and it does work even though the sword has no ammo. And then I have 1 copy of Recuperation just in the event that I'm doing actual hard activities, like let's say Desert Perpetual with LFG, and I want to heal myself when I'm getting my melee kills before getting to the boss damage phase. And then in my class item, I have 1 copy of Special Finisher, and then 2 copies of Time Dilation to extend my armor charge timer. Now, the only mod in the artifact you should worry about is Shield Crush. When you have Woven Mail, Frost Armor, or Avoid Overshield, your melee recharges faster and does increase damage. What you can do here is you can opt to run Grapple with Search Arachne to give you free Woven Mail to activate this, or if you want to stay on Synthos, then you can run Tether, and then when you pick up an Aura of Power, thanks to Facet of Purpose that you can put on in your fragments, you would then get Avoid Overshield, and bang, you do increased melee damage. And that's the whole build. I will have a dim link down in the description in case you want to copy it and try to do it before this is patched. I would say get it done ASAP, because you will kill any boss within like 5 seconds, and that's being generous. It'll probably be like 2 seconds. Alright, hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please consider subscribing today. It does help the channel grow and is much appreciated. If you want to go the extra mile, you can leave a like and or comment below as well. If you don't know what to leave as a comment, you can leave Quick Fang as the comment. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.